Well, we do have a draft, so we can find out the answer to my question right now as we jump into game number 2 of SG Esports versus T1 here at the OGA DOTA pit. And we're going to start things off with that Svenny, Bannied. And they're going to pick up the Bane.
So, I mean, the two big ones in the pool, I mean, probably Keeper of the Light and Venge, right? Oh, God, I get to do a draft again. This is so exciting.
Oh, exciting.
The same two heroes banned out, Klinks and Sven on one side, on the other Shadow Demon Bat. SG, they go with the same.
Why would you not pick it again?
So did they just take the Venge now, then, I assume? Like, why would you change it, right?
Something winning strategy, yeah.
Well, unless they want the monkey.
10 seconds remaining.
They could just go with Bane Monkey the same way they opened up the last game. It worked. So, and they do.
Yep.
It's a really strong opening. It's a ridiculously strong lane that's difficult to play against. Maybe SG Esports will try to mix things up a little bit, pick some Ven or Viper a little bit earlier. Some of these heroes that are able to deal with the Monkey King.
You know what? Production are kicking themselves right now because they've just realized they didn't need to get Mo in at all. They could have just re-recorded 1437's comments from the last draft and just played them again.
5 seconds remaining.
That's very true.
The thing is here, right? Like, SG struggled against this lane and they got a double kill at the start with their Mars. That's probably not going to happen again. So, what do?
Yeah, not
that
sure.
Silence is not encouraging me.
But this is what I was saying. I don't know what SG pick that would make me have confidence in them. You know, like, because I felt that, like I said, their draft was really good before, and if I felt their draft was really good before and they got outplayed that much, then how do I side with them? You know?
Well, they're banning out some things that are really strong in T1's hands. The Vengeful, the Storm Spirit. Storm we didn't see before, but it's really good versus Io and Luna combination. So at least they're protecting themselves from something that already hurt them.
I love how these heroes, as they get more and more attention, they slowly creep up and up the picking order. Like, we first saw Storm as the last pick, then people like, we want to pick it in our double pick in the second phase, and then people are like, yeah, actually, you know what, I'm going to take it in the first pick of the second phase to make sure they don't get it. Pretty soon, that's going to be a first phase hero. That's how it happens. The circle of life.
I could see a Night Stalker being a really interesting pick in this second phase in particular, like especially for T1. I think where they have the double pick.
Mm-hmm. SG Sports with the last ban. Bat is banned out. I wonder why the Quap was banned out by T1. So they don't want to pick it. They're just banning it out against themselves as well. Not really sure about that one.
I mean, are there any matchups that Quap really does well against? I can't think of any, like...
No, versus Bat she owns.
Yeah,
and that's
just
it.
Bat.
But Bat has been banned out, yeah. There's a few that she's fine with, but there are better options at the moment. Meanwhile, all the spirits are getting out again. SG Sports banned out Storm, Void Spirit, and Ember last game. Hotel is, by the way, surprisingly still in the pool. So Keeper of the Light completely untouched.
Interestingly so, but SG, they'll grab that Mirana, and T1, they'll go for something different at last. They'll grab the Lina and the Tide.
Their lineup looks crazy strong already. I was going to say, like, their lineup doesn't deal well with the Tide at all on SG. Like, these three heroes, a little bit underwhelming. I mean, the Luna's obviously okay against the Tide in the lane, but yeah, not convincing.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I agree completely. Luna versus Tide is fine, but overall the synergy between SG Esports, besides the lore of having Luna and Mirana on the same team, I guess it's not that great. You have no setup for the arrow as well, which isn't something that you need necessarily, especially on this level, but it just makes the game easier if you have an SD or Bane. It doesn't have to be SD or Bane, just any sort of a stun. Meanwhile, SG could go for a Mars again, right? Like, you have this Mirana, you could grab that Mars once again. Would be pretty sick.
Yeah, it looks like a good Mars game. And they need that team fight as well, right? I think it's not... I mean, we've seen a lot of Sand King bans this tournament, but we haven't really seen any Sand King gameplay. It wouldn't be sold on it anyway.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised as well because SG do really like playing Sand King, and they flex it as well. They play it at mid and off lane.
My problem with the Mirana pick as well is the fact that you don't have a Brawler 4 and you have a Wisp on 5. Now you're kind of forced into picking this frontliner on your offlane. It's just necessary. You need an initiator on that tree. Instead, they go with the Invoker, which was banned in the last game, by the way. And this is all in on Luna. Just make her a beast.
I really worry.
You mean all in on anime?
Yeah.
True. What's the offlane anime? Is it DK?
It's got to
Is that
be
what we have to
DK,
hope
right?
for?
10 seconds
Yeah.
remaining. Ban.
And yeah, the Viper was something that I was thinking about with the double break against the Monkey and the Tide being great, but it wouldn't have been a great laner against with the Mirana. And I just worry for SG that they've left themselves with so much from their last pick that they need. Well, like Liza was saying, you need this Brawler, you need this catch as well. And it's great that you have like the alacrity for the Luna and everything, but T1 have this like 5-man lineup that look terrifying right now. And I don't see at what point in the game SG can just run into them and take that fight.
10 seconds remaining.
You have the Vessel Builder on SG Esports, which is
5 seconds
quite
remaining.
decent hero that will buff up the Luna, and if you manage to force that Ravage into some poor usage in which doesn't really affect a lot, or they can take 1 kill, after that Luna on Alacrity and Wisp Overcharge is going to take objectives super easily. But again, I have to say, in that first game, I liked SG's draft more. This time, I'm really not sold. And the Dragonite is banned.
No!
Oh no!
And they
Anime
were on
watches
it.
in tatters. Yeah, they've sussed them out. I mean, that is one of the ways SG Esports could win, with the power of God and anime on their side. They might just be able to do it.
I like to imagine T1 having that legitimate conversation, being like, we can't let them have 4 heroes from the anime. It would just be too much.
Also very interesting that Kunkka is... I mean, okay, in this game, not only versus Io and Luna, but versus Invoker, it's pretty strong on the mid lane, right? But still, though, Kunkka is... I just haven't seen the hero in a while. I don't believe in it.
10 seconds remaining.
I still think Night Stalker looks okay. They could even play it mid.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Midnight Stalk would be really nice. Just something which can get on top of this Invoker and this Mirana and punish them. Even like a Puck or something, but I'm not sure that lane's too well against Invoker.
Void Switch banned.
I keep asking for Puck and I never get it.
Yeah, that hero doesn't feel amazing at the moment.
No, it has its niche, but yeah, in general. What do they play on T1? Great question, Nomad. They play mid lane Coddle, Leshrac, Lina, Batrider, TA, Doom, the most popular ones.
I mean, I think it's more likely to be a mid laner. I'd be surprised if they moved it to 4, but they do have that flexibility.
They do have the last pick to pick against Invoker as well. Lina would be fine. Lina and Tidehunter on the offlane is also really solid. You have the Gush, and then Lina just hits you constantly. It's not a bad combo.
That's kind of what I was expecting, but you guys think Lina's... I guess, I mean, they'll just flex it. They'll choose what they want. What other falls could they get?
Invoker, one of the better mid laners against Lina, you'd probably argue, with the crossworks, obviously having the regen to sustain in lane and things, you can secure CS. But I don't see a 4 hero that really stands out to me, is the issue. Like maybe like some Wind Ranger or something could be cool, but...
I mean, could they shift the Bane to 4 and then grab the Disruptor?
Now, you don't really... You could do that, but you don't want Disruptor and Bane as your 2 supports.
Dire team pick.
Let's see what they go for. They go for the Doom. So this should be your Doom mid. Yeah, this should be Doom mid and Lina 4 with Tidehunter. I think at least this is what they love to do. They've played quite a bit of Doom middle. And it's all right. I'm not really a fan of having a Doom versus IO lineups because of the relocate factor, right? You're able to Doom someone and then they get just relocated out and reset. But versus Invoker, it's always fine. You're just making him completely useless if you do manage to get that Doom on top of him.
Yep, my guy needs to cast spells to do anything. Does not like building Lincolns either. Good target if they can catch him out.
They have
SG Esports final pick for them, and they're going to go for the Venomancer.
Oh.
Last game it wasn't banned out, right? And because of that, it was banned last game.
Yeah.
This time it wasn't. So they just get a hero that completely dumpsters Monkey in the laning stage.
Yeah.
That's basically the reason.
So,
it doesn't.
What are our thoughts?
It doesn't do a huge amount with the Morana, though, right? Like it does well against the Monkey, but
overall their draft looks pretty weak on the side of SG Esports. No initiation besides the Invoker running in first and some follow-up from the Arrow. Stuns that they're very low on. But
they really are. And being low on stuns versus Doom hurts extra hard as well, doesn't it? Because this guy's probably just going to be able to stroll in, wander into the team fight. Oh, who do I doom? Eeny, meeny, miny. Yeah, you, Invoker. Goodbye. It's seeming pretty easy for T1 in the second game. I won't lie. I think... Yeah, I don't know. Any good news for SG? What can we say? Give me some positivity.
There are no ways for T1 to jump the Veno easily. They have no heroes with built-in mobility, which is huge for them. So it looks like actually a solid Veno game.
Yeah.
It's all right. I think if their laning stage goes badly on SG, they're going to struggle. So they need to enable this Veno to have a good time to try and get them through the game. Because if the Veno has anywhere near a bad time, the game just, I think, ends in like 25 minutes.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's your thoughts on these drafts, and it's sounding like all three of us are leaning pretty heavily towards T1. SG, can they pull it off against the odds and turn around this series? We shall find out with our casters Bcop and still Mo Farah.
I have to stick with this guy? He's just on panel? He's a turncoat? I can't believe you.
I bet everybody in Twitch chat's like, oh my god, Mo Farah's on panel. That must mean 1437's casting this game. That's so exciting. And then they're like, oh no, it's still this guy, this idiot. Never mind. Well,
yeah, that's how that works sometimes. But we could get a gauge of that. How many of you thought that in the chat? 1 for yes, 2 for no. I love chat interaction, by the way. One of my favorite things. We'll see in about 5 minutes if that was the general consensus. The general consensus of this game is that you guys think that T1's going to win.
Yeah, I think so. They have a really solid overall team lineup, right? With the Tide leading the line. I don't think any of their heroes deal particularly well with the Tide. They have the Venom wards and things which are going to be annoying, but yeah, if T1s don't lose their lanes really hard, I think when this 5 group up ball comes through, they should walk away with the game. So I'm looking forward to SG proving me wrong. I want to see what they've got. And, game 1 wasn't a particularly great performance from them. So if they are going to lose in this tournament, at least go out with a bang. You want to make sure that you've given everything you have so that you have no regrets, right? You don't want to go out with a win.
I can't really hear you over all these taunts. They're so loud. And I've got them coming in twice. SG, I agree. I think you want to go out fighting as hard as you can. And I'm a little worried about Tavo on this Venomancer. He had an okay start when he got that double kill to start the game. And then things seemingly kind of broke down for him. And how's this matchup for him as he's going to be up against the Monkey King again?
Yeah, it's a really great lane for the Veno against the Monkey. And my problem is they don't have a 4 that enables the Veno necessarily. This Miranda kind of wants this setup stun, right? This melee hero that goes in for it. But the double range poke against the Monkey King should be really strong. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Bane to try and enable this Monkey. But if they get these rotations over from the Zephyr like they did last game, where they get the Nightmare into the LSAs and things, then Tavo does just die. This Veno's not a mobile hero.
Ooh. 3 bounties for T1. So a decent start for them as they're going to bring 3 heroes bottom to start this game. They want to make Tavo's life potentially really difficult down here and come over. They'll spot BO3. Do they go for Tavo first is the question, as they'll fight and go.
Oh, he took
BO3 on the run and he leaps level 1.
Oh no. Oh no. Honestly, I think it's worth dying there and still having Arrow at level 1. This lane might be over now. It's that bad. I think, does he have quelling on the Veno? Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I love those cheeky plays with the Quelling Blade against these Monkey Kings. We've been seeing it a lot, and like, players have been real good at it. Did he miss that Venomous Gale? Yeah, he did. And now this is a problem. Nightmare, Primal Spring coming through on Tavo. Not level 2 yet, but it's not looking like it's going to matter. Fairy Fire and Tavo, his lane is already so difficult. Whitemon's going to salve up, and they're just about to hit level 2. I think they hit level 2, and they might get both kills in this lane if they're not too careful on the side of SG Esports.
The thing is, the Monkey doesn't even need the Jingu in this lane. Like, he can just take the Bounders at level 2. And this Veno... Yeah, Whitemon's going to push forward here. He understands with the level 2 advantage, they have the setup. If they sleep the Veno, Theolocord needs to wake him up.
I was sitting about half health. Right click's coming in. Whitemon, he's just pushing them away. He's not forcing a Nightmare and a move from the Monkey King yet because he's just securing the CS, and I think that's fine for them, and they can eventually make the move. As Tavo's still sitting level 1, and there's the Nightmare. Primal Spring ready to go. Whitemon eats some mangoes, leap away, and that's all you can do.
He actually did take the Jingu. Wow, okay. Surprising.
Salve up from Theocor will keep him in this lane and not having to go all the way back.
And mid lane going well for the Doom as well. Even top lane going well for the Tide. All 3 lanes having a great time for T1. Not what you want to see if you're an SG fan, especially after game 1.
This game can snowball out of control really quickly if they're not careful on SG. Arrow hits, though, and Tavo not there to follow it up with a Venomous Gale. Instead throws that out on a 23. Meanwhile, top lane, KJ, he's tethered to this range creep for the moment.
Yeah, they have another salve on the Bane here, so Whitemon should be fine.
He steps up, I believe, trying to block that camp. Just wasn't there in time. Almost cost him his life for a second. Supposed to be like dealing with that anchor smash. Meanwhile, Carl. EMP, and they've got the cold snap. That'll drain Carl of a majority of his mana. The Scorched Earth burning ADR. Tornado comes out. Carl now sitting low. Meanwhile, top Kustabile is also sitting low. Zephyr needs to be careful of his positioning. Venomous Gale comes out on a Whitemon, but they've got the Nightmare to hit on the Tavo, and it's going to be pulled off by this Mirana. Is that even going to save him, however? They've got the Jingu. Right click's coming in, and Tavo's going down for first blood.
Tavo turned around there at the end. I think he would have been okay, but... Or at least making the Monkey dive the tower, right? Ends up falling, though. 2 points in Jingu as well. That extra damage coming through. This game is turning into a massive disaster for SG already with the state of the laning stage. Because like we said, after the laning stage, their draft isn't fantastic, right? Like we were saying, the Veno needed to do well. And I know I keep harping on about it, and I don't want to overstate the point, but just a little bit worried for them.
EMP, Carl. Getting low here. He's got that Scorched Earth, and that's about it. Empty bottle. Trying to go into this Midas. Zephyr, LSA, landing on a Kustabile.
They have another beam, but range drops.
They're right-clicking. KJ no longer tethered. Comes across the anchor smash on the right-click from Zephyr to get the kill on a KJ, leaving Kustabile by himself. And he really can't pressure anymore. Meanwhile, 23, he sits low for the moment, but nobody pressuring under the tier 1 tower. He'll be okay for now.
Did they have a salve on anybody down here? I think Whitemon has regen coming out on the courier. Yeah, he's got a salve for his Monkey.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Buying a lot of flasks. Ooh, Zephyr.
Okay, he just denies himself. That's fine.
The tier 2.
It's not even that bad either, because the lane's under the Tide's tower, right? So it's not like you need to be in the lane necessarily. You're fine just to go and deny yourself. And the thing is, like, Invoker's having a decent time. Like, we saw ADR do well on this hero yesterday, but when you're against the Doom, like, you want to have a good time, but it's also like, the Doom's just going to farm anyway, right? There's no... Oh, he turned for the ult there.
He wanted the Doom, and yeah, he gets his mana drained. He's got the refill on the bottle from Zephyr, and Zephyr might be looking to wrap around to land an LSA and give the opportunity to get that Doom off on the ADR.
Yeah, with the catapult wave as well. This could be huge here.
Double damage picked up by Doom. They see him. They know exactly where he is. Theocore coming around the back. They've got themselves a tether. Three heroes are going to be here from SG. Carl now trying to get this kill onto ADR. Nightmare from Whitemon. He's joined into the fray. It's a 3v3 over in the middle lane. It's a party. And Invoker. ADR will get the tornado off. That lands onto 2, and now he's into the Ghost Walk, trying to run, and Scorched Earth will burn him out. Carl doesn't need to see him, and now we'll also take a courier for his troubles.
Yeah, worrying for SG that the one hero that had a good game going for them is suddenly just rotated on it by 3 heroes.
Nice try.
Bit of a messy kill, but I mean the SG support's not exactly the best at being able to turn ganks, right? Like the Whisper Marana, yeah, not known for it.
This is left Tavo by himself against 23. Now finally the supports will come back, or I say the supports, but it's actually ADR who joined Tavo bottom, and Whitemon will join 23. Primal Spring back into the trees, and now back behind the tower. ADR spending a lot of time down here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Now they've got Zephyr and Theocore into the mix. Another 3v3 situation. ADR Tornado EMP coming down onto Lina. Zephyr looking dead on his screen already. They'll land the stun on ADR, but they've got nothing to follow it up. Monkey King, he's under the vision of this Observer Ward, trying to TP out the arrow. Not in time, just barely. It felt like the tip was almost digging in to this Monkey King.
Yeah, left a scratch on his ear. As the Monkey King TP'd out there, but good rotation by SG. I mean, they need to, again, we said it before, they need to try and play around this Venom in the early stages of the game. Problem is now the Tide's TP to the bot lane, and what do they do to a Tide? Like, this hero's just going to exist. He has a hood, and he's not going to die.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's courier has been
Brought 23 up top. They swapped the lanes, and Abo losing a courier.
What did it die to? Was it creeps?
Must have been. I didn't see it.
What's the Doom building first, by the way? Is he rushing BKB, or is he going, like, Blink or something?
Midas BKB.
He's going, okay.
He's gone 4-3-0 with the 1 point in Doom, which is back up. ADR. Gonna make a move onto this Tide, and Cuckoo getting into this tree area behind the tower. And he doesn't have Ravage skill, but they get the Doom on ADR. They're gonna chase the Scorched Earth burning. Brain Sap's there from Whitemon. Tavo now on the run with Theocore.
He needs to get a ward block off there or
the
something.
Venom answer.
Dire's top
Yeah,
tower
you do have to be a bit careful with T-Well, because those wards do start to add up with damage over time, right? I'm really shocked they kill the Tide. I mean, they only just about got him anyway, but I honestly thought there was no chance of him dying. Oh, they're taking the stacks though on SG. Nice boost of net worth for the Luna once these go down.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh boy. Theocore, Gush, and the double leap won't save you. Carl with another kill.
Yeah, and that's the
He's
Midas.
now 2-0-1.
That's the Midas coming out on the courier for the Doom now as well, so got to be scaling even quicker. Do you take the Fairy Trinket on the Doom, or do you take the Arcane Ring? Okay, he's taking the Trinket. I guess the Arcane Ring goes to the Tide then. Makes sense.
Wouldn't have mind either. I guess the Arcane Ring, though, on the Tide feels a little bit better. He's also got Soul Ring.
Zephyr, I don't know if you noticed, there's also maxed LSA this game instead of the Wave Push from the Dragon Slave. Not a build you see like a huge amount of the time. Sometimes you see a second point in LSA, and then they go for like a 4-2-1, but I'll be interested to see whether he does max it out all the way at level 7.
Right.
Oh, Whitemon's going to tank a gank here.
He'll tank again because the arrow comes in, and
that's the Eclipse as well.
They dropped Eclipse as he died.
Are fortified.
Money to burn.
Dire's
Okay.
middle tower is under attack.
Like, I mean, still okay relocate though, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're there in case a fight does break out. Bit of a interesting eclipse, but it happens.
Radiant structure.
And this Venno is desperately trying to like force in this bot tier 1, right? Like, you want to be getting these wards down, you want to be opening up the map by taking these towers, but with the Tide just sitting here, with the sustain of the Hood and the Morbid Mask as well, it's the brick wall. And brick walls don't go down easily, B-Cup, let me tell you.
No, they'll take a couple of shots from a sledgehammer. That's from a strong person swinging it. Usually need a wrecking ball of some sort, and I don't know if they have that at the moment.
Is this tier 1 going down? Yeah, they're gonna deny.
Mid.
Okay.
I'll get the deny.
Has been denied.
Carl would put the pressure on. He's got Midas up in 7 seconds. He still has that Doom ready to go. Going into the BKB, already has the Ogre Axe, and Whitemon looking to stack. And keep the advantage in their favor as, well, Doom is leading the net worth. 23 trailing this Luna by about 1,200 gold, but he does have stacks to play with.
Do you give the stacks to the Tide, I assume? Right.
Potentially, they could share it, right?
Yeah,
he
they
goes
could.
over, anchor smash, and then that's what I assumed they were gonna do, was share the stacks.
Ooh, Atos on the Venno. So we talked about their lack of catch. I guess Atos makes up for that a little bit, but it doesn't help deal with the Tide still, right? He's taking no damage.
Blessings upon loyal warriors. Radiant
Literally healing through it all. Big camp taking on these stacks from T1. And that's all while SG are taking some camps over in their triangle as well. They're going Sanjin Yasha after the
relocate.
Dragon Lance. They're going to try and relocate in behind Zephyr. Laguna Boy comes out, the Core trying to survive, leaps away. They've got the EMP with the damage from Costa BOA.
Right,
Take out Zephyr. They've got themselves one.
another good pick-off, though. Like, they are finding these openings with the relocate, especially. But I think this slow-paced game definitely favors T1. Not, I mean, it favors SG in the sense they have the Luna, right, which is obviously the big carry for them, and it does power farm with the Wisp, but if you're just going to AFK farm on the Luna and there's a Doom Midas on the other team, right, and the Tide and the Monkey King are also farming, I don't think T1 really minds.
Doesn't really feel like they mind that much.
And Venom's going to TP mid now because he realizes that this brick wall in the Tide Hunter is not going to fall easily. And I think that's probably going to indicate that the Tide just moves over mid now instead.
Carl saving up a good chunk of gold, and he was going for the BKB. He saved enough up right now where he could buy a Blink Dagger if he wants. Oh, Arcane Rune. Be nice to pick up, bottles it up, and then could throw a Doom out.
I think they get
that
a
Arcane
camps, or they're just mirroring each other's smokes. Unfortunate for SG. They see the stack though. I mean, this would be great if they take it.
Big stack to take, and this is unfortunate for T1. This should probably even up the game in terms of net worth. I've done my math correctly. Probably not.
Yeah, it'll be close. I mean, the Luna should go up to like 9.2k or so, right? Just, well, maybe a bit less.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
A bit more.
Oh, on 2-5. And take those sacks. They end up still about 1,000 net worth ahead on the side of T1. As Zephyr's going for a tier 1 over bottom, and nobody's rotating in here from SG.
They snatched the bounty rune as well. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
What did the Tide just get on the courier?
He's got himself the Morbid Mask going into the Blink Dagger next.
I think it was just a TP he got on the courier. But yeah, I was going to say, when he gets the Blink online, I think that's going to be the time in which, in conjunction with the BKB on the Doom, they can look to force fights. Right, and it is difficult to necessarily always get a reliable Blink off because of the Venno wards, but...
Coming in again with the relocate, going after Whitemon.
He's a good
They
Atos.
have the Rod of Atos. The Venomous Scale comes in. Zephyr trying to TP out, but they've got the Lucent Beam. Not one, but two
Nice.
here for the side of SG Esports. A great rotation for them. Grabs both supports. Though Carl continuing to farm up towards top. Monkey King not getting touched. However, SG are moving around the map. quite well. I think we're yet to see a Ravage, really, and
Yeah, we've seen a couple of Dooms, no Ravages.
I think we've seen one Doom, and that was the one over mid on ADR.
The Fiend scripts as well have been lacking as well. It's just a really slow-paced game. Like, we had some kills in the laning stage, but there's the BKB on the Doom.
Ooh, cold snap. EMP with the tornado. BKB's been popped by Carl. I believe 23 was thinking about TPing down there and, well, faked the TP, or at least stopped it for now.
Without the BKB being available, I think you just ditch here on T1. That's a really good trade, though, for SG. The fact they're able to poke out the BKB. And this Luna is getting farms. Like,
Whitemon might be dead.
He's fine. It's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. They're gonna get the kill there on a Whitemon, because the BLA gets credit for that one. He's on a killing spree. Yeah, like you said, it's still very slow paced, and T1, I think they're happy to play this game at the moment.
The Invoker's not scaling at the moment, though, is the problem, right? Like, you have the Vessel. I don't know if he's going back for the Midas or not. It looks...
It's going bots.
It's going bots, right, okay. So going late game, not going to scale particularly well, but it is that enabling of the Luna still, which we've seen from SG, you know, when they were doing it on the Sven as well, right? That big, kind of like big 4 protect 1 kind of idea.
Cuckoo's so safe and confident with where he's at in the game right now that he's farming next to the Dire tier 2. Like, he is just playing very far forward. They haven't been able to really touch him. They killed him once over bottom, but other than that, his game has been pretty secure.
Yeah, he knows that there's a ward there as well. I think when this pipe comes out as well, like, if you look at the damage coming out from SG, there is not a lot of physical damage. So this pipe has such a huge amount of value here.
Still a sliver of a lead here for T1. Out of Atos, Venomous Gale, and the relocate all coming through. They've used that ult from the Venomancer. The Poison Nova is out, and everybody is here from SG. 23 finally paying for his aggressive farming, and that is good movement again from SG. As T1, they're smoked up. Potentially looking to come down and get KJ. They'll find KJ, and they kill KJ.
Yeah, they'll find him eventually. I mean, that was well played by KJ, though, to understand that he doesn't want to bring the Luna back, right? Like, he understands that the safe area of the map is still top, so just go back by yourself. Grove bow for the Luna. Pretty good. Yeah, and just you know, you're going to die, so...
For a second, if he had a creep wave, maybe he was able to get out with like a tether over, but never got that opportunity.
Yeah, potentially, but I mean, with 3 heroes chasing, it was always going to be a difficult one.
"19 minutes into the game, only 15 kills. Just very slow overall. We're yet to see an all-out fight from T1, really.
They're quite happy to just farm up towards this BKB on the Monkey King, I think. There's no rush on them to have to force anything here. Like, yes, they know the Luna's farming, but I think they feel that confident that when the Monkey King gets the items, he should be able to fight up against the Luna.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Philosopher's Stone, Whitemon. He might be the one rubbing his hands together, hoping to get that Philosopher's Stone.
You could give it to the Lina as well. It's good on both of them.
Dire's top tower is
My
under
god, I
attack.
hate that Centaur stomp. Cancel.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Ooh, Cuckoo.
If this
With
EMP
the tornado,
hits...
EMP doesn't land, but Theokor, he is on the high ground. He's got 1 leap left. He'll go into the Moonlight Shadow, Yule's into the arrow. That lands on 23. Gush is out. They've got the Nightmare. Have the control, and they'll get the kill on a Theokor. I think they were really hoping for more than just that Mirana.
Dire's courier has
Yeah, they would have been, but they
T1's still grabbing a bit of a lead.
They don't really commit anything to kill her, right? So it's not the end of the world.
Brigand's Blade for Lina. See if that gets passed
Dire's
over.
middle tower is under
Oh, the
attack.
courier.
Dire's courier has been killed.
And T1 are still, you know, sitting numbers in the dire jungle. They're all over. They're in the triangle and the main jungle.
The difference is now
BKB, but they've got the Fiends group to follow it up. They'll look over at the Venomancer to get this kill on Otavo. Lucent Beam from behind them. They're going to relocate in with the BKB being popped by Costabile if they can survive on Cuckoo, but he's taking a lot of damage, and the right click's coming in. They've got the Lucent Beam, and now he's ending up dead. They take out White on 2 for 1. Doom is used onto the Invoker of ADR, who gets on the high ground. Carl playing very aggressive.
Try and get the blink off
that
here.
BKB is not going to last long, and they've got the Veno Ward to stop the blink. But now BKB, Boundless Strike onto 2, Primal Spring down to the low ground. They don't have the BKBs available on SG, but 23 is just going to TP out. Yule's on himself, trying to get the Yules out onto this Monkey King. Zephyr goes to the Laguna Blade, but he'll die too.
Great fight by SG. They managed to like have these 2 split fights, right? Where I think if the Doom is with the Tide, then they might be able to try and force the engagement. But because the Doom's kind of like chasing this Invoker around, right? They can't deal with this Luna if they're not all there together. They need to get like the Ravage with the Wukongs and whatnot, but as soon as that Luna BKB goes off, incredibly difficult.
I think for a second Cuckoo thought he can survive the damage that was coming in from Costabile and then throw a Ravage afterwards.
Maybe if there wasn't a Wisp, then he could have potentially, but yeah, not in that scenario.
Ooh, blink in, stun up. Cuckoo gets the Ravage off, but the BKB is going to be there for Costabile. Now they'll go after Cuckoo and get the kill. They're going to look over at 23. Tornado comes in. That's going to land. They've got the Sunstrike not even needed as they'll take out 23. SG.
I don't really understand why T1 have like completely changed up their playstyle. I don't really get it. Like, they've been so patient the whole game, and they've been waiting for their BKBs, which is fine, but taking some really silly fights. I guess I know they don't want to give the Roshet, right? And that makes sense. But you have to respect the output of damage from this Luna. Or at least try and kill the Wisp first, right? To stop the steroid coming through.
Right. Problem now is not only does he have that shard, but he really is closing in on the Daedalus. This Luna with the IO is going to be a big problem, and that's despite the fact that there really is a massive gap between Costabile and anybody else on his team. The whole time Carl's farmed well, he's sitting at about 15,000 net worth going into the Shivas and almost having it. We've also got 23 who's done a good job with what he's been given in terms of being ahead of Tavo and ADR, but maybe a little bit slow from the Monkey King if he wants to stay with this Luna and be competitive in these fights.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, I think when the Skadi comes up, right, they'll have the ability to be able to like deal with the Luna a little bit more through the BKB. But like you say, he's so far behind at this point on 23 Savage. That death up in the top lane that he got relocated on, I think, was the one that really set him back, because it delayed the BKB timing as well. And that was the big thing that T1 were looking for.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
When this Daedalus comes out on the Luna, she's actually going to become like a huge issue, right? As if she wasn't already. But
bottom lane, BKB, Eclipse gets used, Cuckoo on the run, pops that pipe, but it's not looking likely he survives. Venomous Scale is there, and Cuckoo ends up dead. They force the Wukongs, and I believe that's because 23 doesn't have his BKB anymore, and he can't TP out, so he's dead too. Costabile with the double kill. SG completely in the driver's seat of this game. We will lose KJ, but that's the price of admission for that fight.
The T1 are not respecting this relocate. They're splitting the map up and trying to shove lanes in and things, and that's great, but all it takes is one catch from like the Mirana or something, or like the Invoker with a Tornado, and if they relocate on top of it, it feels like it's a kill every time. I don't know whether they just haven't, like, they're not thinking properly about this Wisp or what, but, I mean, SG are playing really well. They're finding these openings non-stop over and over again. And honestly, I'm glad to be proven wrong here so far. This game's going much better for them than I thought it would.
It felt like T1 were waiting for their moment and then misplayed their hand once and just gave everything over to SG to then take advantage of the farm they'd been acquiring. And really, Costabile just, it goes from grossly over-farmed to ridiculously grossly over-farmed, as he is now at 20,000 net worth. The only reason Doom is keeping up with him is because he's got the Devour and the Midas.
And you have to remember,
keeping up is still 4k behind.
With SG, if they take one good fight outside the Radiant base, because it's a Luna, they can get through the buildings really quickly. Like Alacrity as well.
.23 just farming away. Got one ulti orb, has enough just about for the point booster. Whitemon's here to try and protect him. They've got relocate ready to go. They'll have Eclipse in 25 seconds. And SG, they're gonna poke at the high ground.
Now, how long do they have left on the Aegis? I think that's the key thing.
They've got about a minute remaining. 4-step back into the base, and Costa Bielia is going to lose that Aegis. It doesn't matter anymore. A minute now turns into no time left. Oh, stun landing on a Cuckoo. They're trying to have the control. The Poison Nova from Tavo. Sunstrike coming through. They get the kill to Cuckoo, but they've got the Wukong's command. They have the Doom. It comes through on a Costa Bielia. They run out of the circle that is the Wukong's, and now T1 turn tail and try to get out, but they've got the Rod of Atos. He's still got the Wukong's going. The Ice Wall is down. The control is there. They'll get the kill. They'll take the Monkey King dead for 50 seconds. And all your base belong to me being SG Esports.
What happened to their spells? Like, what cancelled the grip? Because they got a grip on the BKB Luna. I didn't see what it was. And it just cancelled straight away. So maybe there was a cold snap or something that I didn't see. But like you say, you win one fight outside the base. Or inside the base, as it would have been. And there's just 2 sets of racks. And there's no tier 2 they can... so they can't take the rack spot because of the tier 2.
They can push force.
They might go for this. Okay, they're going to chill. There's a Satanic coming out on the Luna beacon.
Yeah, 24,000 net worth. It just jumps by thousands.
Like, I don't know what happened to the grip, as I said before, but the Ravage also didn't get off because of the BKB on the Luna. I thought they were going to layer the Ravage on top of the Aegis spawning. But I think they were a bit worried about the relocate coming in and saving Costa Bielia afterwards.
Gem for the Mirana. Blink for ADR. Oh, and a Titan Sliver.
Of course.
With the Sanj and Yasha.
It's like the best game for the Titan Sliver as well against the Bane and the Doom. You'd love to see it.
Both K up. Is there any route for T1 to get back in? It seems like these fights just are impossibly favored towards SG. And I say that, bottom lane, 23.
Ooh.
That was close.
That was very close.
They'll take the outpost. They'll start their charge through the bottom lane. They just want to get this tier 2 tower. Meanwhile, top, yeah. Carl, BKB, and he's gone.
Maybe the way back into this game for T1 is to try and bait out some kind of relocate fight and then fight where the other heroes are without the Luna and the Wisp. But, I mean, it's so much easier said than done.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Take the bottom tier 2. Now only the final tier 3 and the tier 4 stand for the side of T1. It's make or break. LSA, that comes through. They've got the Doom. There's the Ravage on the 5 heroes. They've got the Balance Strike. They'll get the kill. Stability. It's perfect from Cuckoo. And here comes T1. ADR trying to do all he can. They've got Coral as well as Cuckoo slowed up. There's the Sunstrike. Not going to land, but the Rod of Atos comes in from Tavo. The TP out from Cuckoo. He's gone. Whitemon a little bit too far forward. They've got the Cold Snap as well as the Spear Vessel on a Whitemon. They'll take out the Bane. Tornado flying through with the BKB being popped by 23. He'll go after Tavo. They get the kill to Coral. Tavo gets credit for that. The TP out from 23. No longer having confidence in that fight. SG still knocking on the door. It took a 5-man Ravage to get that kill on a Costa Bielia, but they do it. They take out the big bad Luna.
As you can see from the lovely production crew from OGA and our observer, 8,000 damage dealt by the Veno because of the huge ult though, and all the Veno wards coming through. But the problem is it doesn't kill anyone. It's like split over everybody, right? So the 8,000 damage, it still doesn't like do much, even though it's such a huge number.
Oh, got out of that last one. Force staff though, now no mana.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tava here
Nice to have that force staff.
Tava here, yeah, they're still willing to just sit here and fight again because they know without the Ravage, T1 can't
Not
really
as
fight.
easy.
And the Luna's going to TP to the outpost here, and they're just going to go again. I'm a little bit worried for them, but honestly, I think if this was a bigger, like, that's really rude. But if it was a different team, like, they would wait for the Rocher and go for that instead. But SG, they want to fight right now.
Yeah, they want to go in. They want to try and get the kill on Cuckoo. They've got the damage coming through, but the Nightmare lands on a Coast of BOA. That's going to be pulled off, and they'll look for the tier 3. They've got the Glyph, the Sunstrike. Oh, Cuckoo just surviving. He's going to buy a salve while he's in the base. They'll go after Costa BOA, who pops the BKB. They've got the Fiend's Grip on the backlines, but the damage being put on the Whitemon. Ooh, push back, disarmed, and now they've got to relocate out. Can they fight without the Luna being here? Are they going to bring both back? I believe they will. Ravage up in 19 seconds. No Wukongs now for 66 seconds.
No BKB on the Luna.
They've got themselves the Yules. That'll land the arrow. Cuckoo Gush. They've broken the Lincolns. Now they've got themselves the Eclipse coming down on a Carl. The damage is going to be there. Costa BOA trying to run. He's
the Satanic.
He gets healed up, but is it going to be enough? Carl going in. The right clicks are through. They've got the Doom, but the Satanic keeping him alive. And now finally, Whitemon run down 4 heroes, 5 heroes, all gone with the buyback being used here by the Tide. Throws out the Ravage. Doesn't hit on the Costa BOA. The full GG. SG will even up the series at 1. And they have beaten T1 in this second game and look so good doing so.
There's something special about watching Cuckoo Ravage and just call GG straight away. I mean, yeah, SG looked fantastic this game. I mean, the big question mark for me is how they managed to get away with this Luna just free farming for like 20 minutes. Like, yeah. The Luna just got completely untouched the whole time. T1 played a completely different game to Game 1. Game 1, they were relentless. The pressure was coming out constantly. And in this game, too, they just chilled out the whole time. And I think if both teams had just been farming, it would have been okay. But SG were gaining that edge by using these relocate ganks to find pickoffs. And the Luna is farming so quickly. I think they took like one or two bad fights on T1, and SG punished them so hard. Like, it almost crumbled there with that, like, 5-man Ravage in the last fight. But fair play to SG. They really smashed through that brick wall that T1 were trying with the Tidehunter holding the high ground. And, yeah, glad we get a Game 3. I'm so glad I'm proven wrong as well, because we all want Game 3s here, B-Cop.